On Geonosis, it took Count Dooku exactly 31 seconds to dismantle Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not metaphorically, not a close loss. Total destruction, 2 hits, lightsaber gone, Jedi on the floor. Dooku stands over him, completely unfazed, like a man who just swiped away an annoying app notification on his datapad. And yet, this exact Jedi would go on to master the one combat style that almost everyone in the Order considered the weakest, too defensive, too passive, too boring. Simply put, the style nobody in the Jedi Temple wanted to brag about. No backflips, no, I am one with the Force, and also incredibly flexible. No Dooku style fencing with aristocratic wrist-flicking arrogance. Just block, breathe, hold your ground, and that is exactly what eventually turned Obi-Wan into the ultimate nightmare for any opponent trying to win, because Obi-Wan's style wasn't built to win spectacularly. It was built to never break, and the problem for the Sith is when your entire life philosophy is built on rage, blind ambition, and terrible mentors, running into an opponent who simply refuses to play along is incredibly rude. Chapter 1. The Legacy of Naboo. Before Obi-Wan became this unbreakable rock, he was anything but patient. As a Padawan under Qui-Gon Jinn, he had to practice the exact same basics over and over again long after he had already mastered them. It's kind of like your fitness coach telling you today is leg day and tomorrow too, and for the next 8 years, Obi-Wan didn't get it. Qui-Gon didn't explain much. But that was exactly the point. He wasn't building a show fighter, he was building a foundation designed to stand tall when everything else collapses. Qui-Gon himself fought using Ataru, Form 4, fast, aggressive, acrobatic, a style meant to overwhelm the opponent before they even realize they've become part of a terribly choreographed sequence. Ataru was perfect, as long as the fight ended quickly. The problem was Darth Maul had no intention of losing quickly. On Naboo, Maul set the stage. He knew the platforms, the laser barriers, the tight catwalks, everything the acrobatic Form 4 needed to thrive. Maul took away from Qui-Gon. Space, momentum, and room to retreat. Qui-Gon grew tired. Maul waited. Then, he struck. And Obi-Wan didn't just watch his master die. He watched a combat style fail when he attacked Maul right after, blinded by rage. He made the exact same mistake. He wanted to win. He wanted revenge. He wanted to force an outcome. Maul used that exact desire against him. It wasn't until Obi-Wan was hanging over the abyss, disarmed, angry, and completely spent, that he did something that would define the rest of his life. He let go. This is where the Obi-Wan nobody saw coming truly begins. Chapter 2, The Massacre of Geonosis. Years later came the next brutal lesson. The arena of Geonosis turned into an absolute massacre. Around 200 Jedi charged into that arena. By the end, only a handful were left standing. Not because they all fell in epic duels, but because blaster fire was coming from too many angles at once. For centuries, the Jedi Order had admired combat styles that looked great in the training room, but in an actual war, it turned out that sometimes the best combat style isn't the one that gets applause. Sometimes it's simply the one that keeps you from dying. That is exactly what Soresu was built for. Form 3, originally developed as a direct answer to blaster weapons. No massive swings, no exposed attacks, everything kept tight to the body. A defensive, impenetrable shell right after that arena massacre inside a hangar on Geonosis. Obi-Wan faced Count Dooku and ran straight into his next disaster. Dooku wasn't a wild berserker like Maul. Dooku was the master of Makashi Form 2. Elegant, precise, blade to blade. The man fought like he scheduled an appointment in his calendar before every single cut. To him, Obi-Wan was incredibly easy to read. Qui-Gon's lineage, predictable patterns, too much movement, too much effort. 3 sequences, shoulder, thigh, lightsaber gone, 31 seconds. That wasn't just a defeat, it was a diagnosis. Obi-Wan realized he couldn't keep going like this. Chapter 3. The Ultimate Defense. The Jedi Order had always found the flaw in Soresu obvious. Form 3 doesn't secure a clear victory, so they developed more aggressive answers. Form 5, for example, essentially piece through harder counter-shooting. Very Jedi, very subtle, almost diplomatic if diplomacy meant a lightsaber to the face. But Obi-Wan understood something everyone else missed. Soresu doesn't ask, "How do I win?" Soresu asks the opponent, "What are you gonna do when I just don't fall down?" And that exact question is absolute hell for aggressive opponents. Because the longer they strike, the more they reveal about themselves. The harder they push, the tighter the trap snaps shut. Every attack becomes data. Every surge of anger becomes a roadmap. Obi-Wan didn't become dangerous because he hit harder. He became dangerous because he stopped letting himself be opened up. Even Mace Windu, the master of Vapad, a style that actively channels one's inner darkness, noted in the official lore, other forms cover up personal weaknesses. Yoda's Ataru compensates for his small size. Dooku's Makashi suits his aristocratic pride. But Soresu doesn't cover a weakness for Obi-Wan because he doesn't have any left. That wasn't a compliment from a Windu, it was a warning. Chapter 4, General Grievous's Nightmare. And then came General Grievous. 4 arms, 4 lightsabers, the kinetic energy of a Roomba that learned pure, unadulterated hatred. Grievous was biologically and technologically programmed to completely overwhelm Jedi, both psychologically and physically. Too many angles, too much pressure, too many blades. Against almost any other Jedi, it was an absolute nightmare. Against Obi-Wan, it was basic customer service. Grievous struck, Obi-Wan blocked, Grievous accelerated to maximum frequency. Obi-Wan just stood his ground, and when a tiny opening presented itself, after thousands of deflections, Obi-Wan didn't make a massive, heroic counterattack. He altered a single block by a fraction of an inch. A tiny twist, a hilt struck, 1 weapon gone. That was the moment defense suddenly turned into the deadliest offense. Soresu was never passive, it was patient. And patience is incredibly boring right up until the other guy realizes he spent the last 5 minutes meticulously orchestrating his own execution. Even Dooku eventually noticed. When training Grievous, he named the only 3 Jedi the General needed to be specifically prepared for: Yoda, Mace Windu, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That is the exact distance between dismantled in 31 seconds on Geonosis, and please prepare meticulously before facing this man. Chapter 5, The Fault in the Sith now comes, the part Darth Sidious never factored into his grand master plan. On the invisible hand, Dooku was supposed to eliminate Obi-Wan quickly, to isolate and break Anakin emotionally. Sidious had plans for everything. If Anakin wins, if Dooku wins, if someone falls, if someone turns. But he had no plan for Obi-Wan Kenobi simply surviving. Dooku wanted to exploit the old patterns. He tried to force Kenobi into an Ataru leap, hoping to catch him where he used to be predictable, except Obi-Wan didn't jump. He refused to play that game anymore. Dooku was facing an opponent he thought he understood, and that was his death sentence. He was fighting the memory of Obi-Wan, not the master standing right in front of him. The difference wasn't power or speed. The difference was that Obi-Wan no longer cared about winning the way everyone else did. And Mustafar proved this once and for all. Anakin knew Obi-Wan's style inside and out. He had trained against him daily for years. If anyone on Earth should have been able to crack Soresu, it was him, theoretically. But you can only break Soresu with one thing: even more patience. You have to pull back your rage at the moment of maximum pressure. You have to wait even when everything inside you is screaming, "Now!" Anakin couldn't do that anymore. He was pure rage, raw pain, and honestly, about 47 untreated therapy sessions too late. So, he did exactly what Soresu punishes hardest. He kept pushing. Obi-Wan didn't stop Anakin's momentum. He redirected it, step by step, strike by strike, until Anakin reached the point where he defeated himself. The famous high ground moment wasn't about geography in the end. It was applied psychology. Anakin wanted to force a victory. Obi-Wan simply allowed the fight to end. That is the real reason why the supposedly weakest Jedi style became the deadliest. Soresu wasn't a show. It wasn't about ego. It wasn't a threat or a display of dominance. It was the ultimate silent insult to every Sith. You can want victory with everything you have. And it changes absolutely nothing. Obi-Wan wasn't the most dangerous fighter in the galaxy because he actively destroyed his opponents. He was the most dangerous because his opponents destroyed themselves against him. The Jedi Dooku, once dismissed in 31 seconds, became the one man the dark side had no answer for, because Sidious could plan for betrayal, plan for fear, plan for anger, plan for ambition, but he couldn't plan for a man who didn't need any of it anymore. Obi-Wan's style wasn't the deadliest because it spilled the most blood. It was the deadliest because it did the one thing every Sith should fear above all else. It simply held its ground and waited quietly until the opponent was done with their own drama.